Hi. So, welcome back. It's April, and everywhere right now we're hearing detox, cleanse, reset, get your body summer ready. And I just want to pause for a moment and reflect on that. Do we all need a detox, a reset, or a cleanse? Yes and no. We need to look at where you are right now. There's no one size fits all. And while I do agree, we do need to support the body in detoxification. I even offer 14-day liver cleanses that I do in the spring and the fall with clients. There are some clients that they're not ready for it yet. It's not quite right for them. And so I think it's so important to pay attention to where we are at the moment to make sure the body is okay for moving on through a detox. So your body is already always detoxing. Your liver is always working. Your kidneys are working. Your gut is working. And so we need to really focus on what the body needs to support this detoxification and where you are right now. So if we're not doing a detox or a reset or a cleanse, there are a few things that you can do to kind of do an in-house cleanse or prepare your body for a cleanse that helps your body to um, more effectively detox on its own. So the first thing I use is spring greens. So if you look around outside right now, so like if I'm looking out my window, I see these bright kind of yellow greens, this real fresh green, right? So I just came back from Costa Rica. Many of you have been following me on my Instagram. And I just got home, and so it was summer there. And when I left, it was winter here. And I came back, and everything's this beautiful spring green. So these spring greens are spring herbs that are coming up, those wild weeds that people want to go out and spray. Those are very mineral rich. They're full of mineral salts. If you just grab some leaves and taste them, you'll notice that they're salty. They're very high in minerals, and they're very, very bitter. Our liver loves bitter, which is why we say it's important to cleanse and focus on cleansing the liver in the spring. Nature provides what our body needs for that detoxification. Now, don't go out and grab some greens unless you know they have not been sprayed. I know here on my farm, we have weeds all over the place. We don't have to worry about going out and grabbing a handful and making a wild weed salad. That's one of our favorite things to do. But you want to be really careful and mindful of that. But these spring greens, like I said, they're very bitter. The liver loves bitter. When we eat bitter foods, it helps to flush the bile. It tells the gallbladder to contract and release bile. And when we release bile, then that helps to clean up the bile so that we're less likely to have bile stones, gallstones, stones in the liver, things like that. And so we want to eat those bitter greens as much as we can. And here in the US, we have been trained to eat sweet foods. We don't want to eat those bitters. And so finding ways to get those bitter greens in, adding bitters to your breakfast if you can, adding them to your lunch, adding them to your dinner, eating them before a meal to let your body know, hey, we need to prepare for digestion. That just eating something bitter starts to release those digestive juices and those digestive enzymes, so you're better able to break down and absorb the minerals in your foods. And so that's very important. So that's one of the reasons why I love the spring greens. A, they're green, so they're very high in chlorophyll. B, they're very high in minerals. They're fresh and green. The earth just produced them, and they're bitter, so they help us with the liver. And so once those things start coming up from the earth, that's our sign from the universe. Hey, we need to be eating these greens. They help us with our digestion. They help us with the liver, and they help us with detoxification. So one of the things that I want you to watch out for, especially those of you who are in the autoimmune world, like I am in, is sometimes it can be really harmful for you to do like a juice fast, water fasting. Even strict intermittent fasting may not be right for you if you're in the middle of a flare. If you have elevated antibodies, you need to make sure that you are eating consistently and regularly so that your body feels safe, knows, hey, more food is coming. And so if you still have antibodies or you're in a flare, still have symptoms, then this is not the time for a juice fast or a water fast, or even some people do a dry fast. I don't recommend that for anyone. At the School of Natural Healing with Dr. Christopher, they talked about the harmful effects. We don't like anything to be dry. We don't like dry heat. We need moisture in our body. Our bodies are made up of so much water. And so I do like juicing, and I include that as part of my detox programs. And for my clients who I say, you know what, a detox is not right for you, but we do need to boost your minerals. Adding green juices can be really, really beneficial to help flood the body with nutrients. And for my clients who have those genetics where they are missing the pathways to create vitamin A from their foods, then carrot juicing can be very helpful too in small amounts because that is also very high in sugar. And so ways that we can boost vitamin A can be really important. And sometimes juices help with that. Something else that we need to do if we can't do a full-on detox is making sure that elimination is appropriate. And so, I talk about poop a lot, but we need to poop. We're made to poop. Babies poop, puppies poop. We expect it, right? But we don't want our humans to poop. We don't want adult humans. Babies are human. We don't want adult humans to poop or to think that they have to poop, right? But we need to make sure those are happening. That's happening. Every time we eat a large meal, our stomach should expand, the nerve endings to the pathways should be signaled to open up the ileocecal valve to open things up in the intestines, to move things along so that 30 minutes later we can easily go to the bathroom and pass the stool. And so that's supposed to happen. If that's not happening, if that signal's being missed, or we're holding, or we're constipated, things like that, then we absorb more toxins, and then we already have a toxic body. We're exposed to toxins in the air, toxins in the water, toxins in our shampoos and toothpaste and house cleaners, and we're breathing in chemicals from the couches and the countertops and all those things, just off-gassing, even the paints on the walls. And so we do need to find ways to help detoxification even if we can't do a full-on detox. Our liver has to do a couple of things. It has a couple of phases. One, it needs to break things down, and it needs to bind them and then help them to eliminate safely through the body. And so it first identifies that, hey, this is something that I need to handle. B, I need to change the chemical structure. C, I need to wrap it up in something safe so that it can pass through the urinary tract or the digestive tract without harming the body and creating more inflammation. And to do all of that, the body needs amino acids, aka protein. So people say protein. Amino acids is a better term because all of our foods contain amino acids. We don't have to eat meat to get amino acids. We just need those building blocks. Think about Legos. We need all those different colors in the Lego container, and we can get those from all of our plant foods. We need minerals. Remember, I said those spring greens, very, very high in minerals. All of our dark leafy greens are high in minerals, especially now when we have these fresh spring greens. And then antioxidants. Antioxidants are like in our lemon, our citrus foods, our raw bell peppers, raw fruits and vegetables, very high in antioxidants. And if we eat lots of color, we get lots and lots of different antioxidants, which are so important for protecting the body when we are going through some sort of liver detox plan, whether or not that is just supporting the liver or doing a full-on detox. So a lot of times when we have autoimmune disease, we have depletion or insufficiency in our minerals. Maybe we're not taking in enough minerals through our foods. Maybe we're eating a lot of processed foods. Or maybe we're lacking some enzymes that help us to break down and absorb. Maybe we have some kind of leaky gut where we're not absorbing the minerals down at the end either. But usually the minerals that I see that are missing the most are magnesium. And so you hear, people take magnesium to help them sleep. They take magnesium for their brain. They take magnesium to help them poop, right? And so we need to make sure we're taking the right forms of magnesium and getting them in throughout the day. And so that could be soaking your feet in Epsom salts or taking a bath in an Epsom salt bath. That could be in your foods. Sometimes it's hard to get in through our foods. Some people use magnesium sprays. Those can sting and tingle. And so finding the right thing for you. Potassium. A lot of our vegetables and fruits and root vegetables contain potassium. You can even just do a quick Google search for potassium broth. That is really fabulous, especially at this time of year. Boosting those leafy greens, drinking a potassium broth every day, kind of like a cup of tea. It can be warm and comforting when it's still cool nights before the temperatures get really hot. And it really adds in a lot of fabulous minerals. And then trace minerals can be helpful as well. These minerals help us with our nervous system. So when we have this ongoing chronic illness like autoimmune disease or some of these others, cancer, heart disease, any of those, our nervous system's shot. A lot of times we have a lot of anxiety and a lot of stress and things like that. We need minerals to help regulate that nervous system. We also need minerals to help with blood sugar balancing. If we don't have the right minerals, our blood sugar may be kind of wavering. It's not staying nice and stable. We need minerals for our immune function, for appropriate immune function. And with autoimmune disease, we know we have an overactive immune system. It's all over the place. And if we have leaky gut combined with this activated immune system, we really need lots of minerals for calming, but also to get that back into balance. And then we need minerals for our energy pathways as well. We have the mitochondria in our body, and it relies on specific vitamins and minerals to work appropriately to provide you with the energy that your body needs. And so spring greens can help meet all of those needs. When I'm thinking of spring greens, I'm thinking of like baby spinach. We have a lot of spinach here in the spring. Once we get into the middle of summer, depending on the type of spinach, it's harder for it to grow. Right now, if you just look out in your yard, if you haven't cut the grass, you probably have some dandelion greens. Super high in minerals, fabulous. You can eat the flowers as well. Parsley, cilantro, watercress. I know here we have chives, we have lemon balm and mint, peppermint, spearmint, parsley, cilantro, those herbs that just come out in the beginning, or weeds, even violets, things like henbit, nettles, purple dead nettles, all of those. We don't call them superfoods, but they come from the earth, right? They surprise us. We don't even have to cultivate and plant these. They can come up for us. Maybe not the parsley and cilantro, but those other herbs. They're wonderful for our body and provide all these rich minerals. And so I love those. You can buy them in the grocery store or farmer's market as well. So use these greens. We want you to make sure you're getting greens in at least 2 meals a day. So if you only eat 2 meals a day, both meals, lunch and dinner, breakfast, lunch, and dinner if possible, just aiming for those greens somehow. Does it have to be a raw salad? No. You could have steamed, you could have it blended into a smoothie. You can have it raw. You can turn them into, like Dr. Rita Marie taught me how to make kale brownies. Sounds disgusting, but when you blend in the kale into the brownies, you don't even know it's there. So you can even find ways to hide it. And then I also recommend that you rotate those greens. So if you love spinach and a spring mix, people say what is spring mix? That lettuce mix you buy in the grocery store that has a couple different colors lettuce, this beautiful, crispy, kind of sweet. If you love those, that's fine to eat those, but don't eat those every single day, day in and day out. Rotate some other greens, add in some romaine, swap your spinach with something else, with a different kind of lettuce, with some kale, with arugula, another super bitter green, right? And just rotating cabbages, Napa cabbage, bok choy, purple cabbage, green cabbage, right? And so we can rotate those different greens because every single one gives us a different set of minerals, different phytonutrients, and even chemicals that we don't even know fully about that support our body and liver health, support our immune health as well. And so it doesn't have to be eating a giant salad every day. You can blend it into pasta sauces, all sorts of things like that. So I also want you to focus on rebuilding and remineralizing. So here in spring, we think about rebirth. This week is the week of Passover and Easter. I think this video will come out right after Easter, but it's a time of rebirth. We are regrowing, regenerating, rebalancing, remineralizing, and that's what those spring greens do for us. And so it's really great to look for different recipes that include them. We can Google different things, right, that we can do with these. Just Google recipes for kale, recipes for collard greens, right? What about a great collard wrap? Or even nori, making a vegan sushi, just making a nori wrap with, some kind of dip and veggies. That's great. So nori is another dark leafy green. Is it a spring green? I don't know. I don't know when it is harvested best, but there are different ways you can incorporate greens. So if you want help with all of these greens, help with foods to help support your liver and your immune health and help you with autoimmune disease, that's something that I do in my membership group, the Culinary Healing Circle. This month, we're focusing on mineral-rich foods, foods that are wonderful for the liver, and then simple ways to include this in real life. I like to make it super easy. It's at culinaryhealingcircle.com. I hope you'll check it out and join us, and I will see you again next week.